My son Alex always had an active imagination, from jumping up and down on the couch thinking he's walking on the moon, to standing on a pool inflatable thinking he's a pirate on the open sea. He never knew a boring moment, which is why when he turned to 6, I took him to the one place where his imagination could roam free. Imagination Land. Imagination Land was a traveling carnival that really only visited small towns and didn't get much national attention, but it was still fun whenever it came. When I heard it was coming to town, I knew I had to take him. The day came, and when we parked the car, I couldn't wait to see how he would react. Alex was practically bouncing with excitement as we wandered through the fairgrounds, taking in the sights and sounds of the rides and games, with the smell of popcorn and funnel cakes were in the air. His favorite moment came when we ran into the carnival's most beloved character, Dandy the Imagination Dragon. Alex ran straight into Dandy's arms. Grinning ear to ear, he gave Dandy a huge hug, and then began to tell him how he wanted to go to the Daring Dragon lair, and that he had been practicing his roar. Dandy clutched his stomach and threw his shoulders up and down to give the appearance of a hearty laugh. I'd never seen my kid so happy, and I wanted to capture this moment. I asked Alex if he wanted a picture with him, and had to practically hold him steady with one hand while trying to take the picture with the other. But then something strange happened. Dandy, after posing for the photo, took Alex by the hand and led him toward a small tent I hadn't noticed before. It all seemed innocent at first, part of the magic, I thought. But when they slipped behind the tent's flaps and they closed, I felt a cold knot tighten in my stomach. "Alex!" I called, rushing toward the tent. But no one responded. I pulled the flaps open, but the inside was empty. Panic set in as I searched around, asking employees, but no one seemed to know where Dandy or my son had gone. I ran through what seemed like the entire carnival. I couldn't find him, and no one seemed to know what tent I was talking about. Every moment without my son felt like an eternity. After what felt like hours of desperate searching, I frantically returned to the tent and pushed my way inside, determined to find Alex. On the other side, it wasn't the colorful carnival I had just walked through. It was something entirely different. Hidden behind the carnival's facade was a dingy, shadowy area that didn't belong. The magic of the carnival faded to cold, gray surroundings, and the festive music was replaced by an eerie silence. Alex wasn't on the other side. I ran out the back. I started running, my footsteps echoing through the narrow paths between tents and trailers, my heart pounding in my chest. The more I searched, the stranger everything felt. I heard distant sounds, like whispers and giggles, but whenever I followed I found only emptiness, as though the carnival was shifting around me. When I got to the point where my lungs were screaming and my legs were burning, I came upon a hidden area tucked behind some trailers. It didn't look like part of the carnival at all. I pushed through a tent that had Imaginado written on the sides of the tent, hoping beyond hope that it would lead me to Alex. He had to be in there. He must be in there, I thought. But what I found was more disturbing than I could have imagined. Inside, children sat in rows of chairs, their faces vacant and glassy-eyed. They wore helmets with tubes coming out of every single part of it. They were leaned back as if in a trance. Above them, giant monitors showed what looked to be swirling colors in all sorts of shapes, dancing around. When I looked back down at all the kids, I saw Dandy watching over them, like a sinister guardian. He was checking the tubes and monitors like some kind of doctor. I then laid eyes on Alex. He was slumped in one of the chairs, his eyes half open, staring at nothing. I felt a surge of anger and fear as I ran towards him, but I didn't see that Dandy had snuck around the other side. He raised his hand, and the very last second before I fell to the ground, I saw that he had a pipe in his hand that made solid contact with my face. I dropped like a bag of rocks thrown into the sea. I tried to get up, but Dandy hit me again. Blood spilled from my face as I attempted once more to get to my feet, but Dandy brought the pipe down a third time on the back of my skull, causing everything to grow hazy and dim. I then heard someone else enter the tent. "Easy, my friend," I heard him say. "We don't want to kill him just yet." I rolled onto my side trying to get a look at the person. Through strained vision, I saw a man dressed as a ringmaster. He walked over to me and placed a hand on my shoulder. "You shouldn't be here," he said calmly, his voice cold. "But since you are, I suppose I could tell you the truth. After all, it's not like you'll be leaving this place." He explained it all, the dark secret behind the carnival. They weren't just entertaining children, they were taking them. The carnival traveled from town to town, luring children away, draining their energy, spirits, and imagination, leaving them as empty shells. It was how the carnival survived, taking a child here and there, then moving on before anyone noticed them missing. They used Dandy to lure children away, and once captured, their imaginations were siphoned into those machines. The man stood up and walked towards Alex. "It's a shame, really, about your son. He had an adequate imagination, but..." He placed a hand on Alex's head. "I'm afraid he doesn't have enough to last much longer. He had such potential." He smirked. venom dripping from that last word. Without hesitation, and ignoring all my pain, I got to my feet, and I charged at the ringmaster. I kicked his knee, hyperextending it, then took my fist and hit him in the throat. As he dropped to his knees, I cursed at him, in this godforsaken place. Behind me I heard the dandy starting to rush towards me. I threw the ringmaster to the ground, and going to the child in the chair next to Alex, I unplugged one of the cords. I had no idea what it would do to him, and I felt guilty about it, but I needed to save my son. Red lights and alarms sounded as Dandy then rushed over to the machine, trying to fix whatever damage I did. In the chaos, I managed to rip the helmet off Alex's head. His eyes flickered, and he blinked, coming back to himself. "Come on, buddy, we're leaving," I said, as I scooped him up and ran, weaving between tents and trailers, hiding when I thought I heard footsteps behind me. Once we got back to the main area of the carnival, I screamed for help, but no one did. They saw me and my bloody face, my son and his pale skin, and avoided us. I ran up to employees who just backed away and told us to leave. No one would help. My son needed to leave this place. I needed to leave this place. Holding on to Alex, I started to run again. The carnival seemed endless, but eventually we found an exit. We got back to our car, and I sped us home. When we got home, I tried to report what I had seen, but no one believed me. It sounded insane, even to me, but I knew the truth. That traveling carnival wasn't just about fun and games, and as I look at Alex now, safe and smiling again, I realized I had almost lost him to something far darker. I realized I had almost lost him to that darkness. The very light that made him so special to me was almost stolen from him. I was lucky enough to have been able to find him and save him, but I also know that many other children have not been so lucky. And I know, wherever the carnival goes next, please don't go, because more children might not be so lucky.